Morning guys, hope you're all doing good and having a great summer. Today I want to do a couple of things. One of them is to just enjoy the nature and take some shots. Another one is to bring into discussion the topic that the beginners photographers, like me and the hobbyist photographers, especially in the beginning of their journey, they have this tendency of shooting at everything that moves or doesn't move, but basically shooting a lot, just in the hope that eventually something is gonna come out good. I want to discuss this topic. I want to also hear your opinion on this. I'll try to give you some tips that I'm trying to apply. Yeah, we're gonna try to discuss this topic. I'm gonna try to bring in some tips, some pros and cons also. Now let's set up the scene a little bit. I came here to some local marshes. It's the first time that I come here. You can see behind, I think you can see behind me, there's a lot of reeds and some small lakes, and the water is not really accessible. It's pretty far away from the shore, let's say. There's pretty good amount of birds and ducks that I can see. The only problem is the reach. I don't know if I'll be able to reach, but we'll see. There are some small lakes that are more accessible, but they are all taken by fishermen. There are like 4 or 5 that I've seen already, at least. So there's no chance for me. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk around. I don't know if you can see. So right there's an open small lake. It looks pretty, with a lot of birds and ducks I've seen, but I have no clue if I'll be able to reach it, to be honest. So I'm going to try to go around and see if there is any entrance into one of these small lakes, so I can have more access. Let's see. Meanwhile, since I was going to bring the topic of shooting too much photos, you wouldn't think with today's technology it's a problem, right? Because you're not limited to a film which has a certain amount of pictures that you can take. We're all doing, or majority of us are doing digital, so it might not be a problem, especially for beginners, but to a certain point, and I'm going to explain later on what I mean by that. The biggest problem that I see is that we're bringing the modern world stress and the modern world, speed into photography, where we have a lot of pressure from social media, from, especially if you're doing YouTube, you are always pressed that you're not going to have what to show in the video and so on, so you kind of shoot like crazy, whatever you pops out in front of your camera. I see a little bird buddy on the sunflower. And now I see this. I don't know what it is. Come on, turn. Put it up. So another drawback of having this 2x shutter button, let's say, is that you have a lot of work to do in post-processing. You're gonna have a lot of work because you're gonna have to filter to all those photographs that he took, and you'll have to see which one you keep, which one you're gonna delete, and that can mean a lot of work. I experienced those things, like it took me hours to filter those photos and choose the ones that are decent. And another drawback that I see is the quality of your photos. Because you don't take enough time, you're in a rush to... I see something flying, but it's behind the sun. I missed it. And I think those are the cons, more or less, that I see. Let me know if you see more, or let me know your opinion also. I think I found a small opening here to one portion of the legs. And those reeds are really, really high. Ooh, I just scared the duck. Damn it. I see a small one. Gonna stop. They are really, really sensitive, and this reed makes a lot of noise when you... What I will do, I'll just wait here for maybe 15 minutes and see. I see one. It's too far. And also they might fly on top, some of them. So. I've been here on this small lake, on this entrance for 40 minutes or so. I managed to get some shots of some of the ducks. They came out and still in the distance, but I managed to get some shots. It's really nice and quiet in the reeds. Now it's a bit of wind, and the reeds, they make this really nice, like the waves sound. I'll try to move on the side and see, maybe there's another entrance. Let's talk a little bit while I'm moving a little bit further about some tips that I apply, or I'm trying to apply to this problem of shooting too much. There's another birds. Of course, this depends a little bit on the genre that you in, on what kind of photos you're taking. But just the tips that I'm trying to apply in general, and the first one, the most important one, is ask yourself, is this photograph gonna hang on my wall? Is this photograph gonna hang on my, I don't know, my friend's wall, or my family, or even in an art gallery? Why not? This, I find, it's really interesting, because then you start to being critic about your composition. Then you start to think about, maybe it's not that good to be hanging on the wall. The second tip that I'm trying to apply is to think about the composition rules, right? The rule of 3/3, the leading lines, the framing, and I would add also the simplifying photos, because that's what we have to do when we take photos, simplifying our composition. So when you think of those composition rules, every time you take a shot, you might get better shots. You're not gonna shoot every time you point at something. I'm gonna keep moving a little bit more. I don't see any entrance, unfortunately, but I think just by the curve, I'm gonna keep moving and see. The sun is already pretty high in the sky. Unfortunately, I can't find any other entrance. I wish I had a drone at this point, just to lift it up and have a view from the top and see. So I'm just gonna go back, and we'll see on the way, maybe some other birds will show up. Meanwhile, let's come back to my topic. And the third tip that I'm trying to apply, besides the composition and asking yourself if this photo can hang on your wall, is to practice the review and the critique when you're doing your post-processing. And this can link pretty good with what I said in the beginning, because as a beginner, in the first few months, maybe in the first year, you're gonna be tempted to just shoot and shoot. It's totally fine to shoot more than you should, as long as you combine it, you package it with this third tip that I'm saying about right now, which is reviewing and doing critique and in post-processing. So whenever you're gonna process your photos, analyze them and see what was good in it, what was bad in it, and try to learn from this experience. So next time when you're doing in another photo session, you know not to do those mistakes, and that's how you can also evolve as a photographer. And the fourth tip is to practice patience. This is pretty important. And remember when I said in the beginning that we tend to bring all the modern world stress into photography, which is not good. So practicing this patience can mean, I don't know, maybe when you're doing static photos or something that is not wildlife or sports, what you can do is choose your spot, your composition, your potential composition, and just wait there like for 15 minutes maybe, and wait for the perfect light, for the perfect movement, for the perfect expression, for the perfect subject, and so on. It's pretty hard in the beginning to stay 15 minutes just to wait for a subject to pop out in your frame, or just to wait for the light. But I'm trying to work on this one. I'm not very good at it right now, but it can help you a lot to practice this patience. Of course, all of those you need to take them with a pinch of salt, because again, when you're doing wildlife, it's a little bit more difficult. When you're doing wildlife, to practice patience means that you have to anticipate actually a lot in wildlife. And to be able to anticipate, you have to know your subject really good, or your subjects, which is pretty difficult to know the behavior of what kind of birds, what kind of ducks, or those are the tips that I'm trying to use. Let me know anything else. Let me know if anything resonates with you. Just put it in the comments and we'll take it from there. I had a pretty good time, even though I wasn't expecting so many fishermen. I thought I'm gonna be alone on those marshes, but no, that wasn't the case.